Hello my dear class 8 students, welcoming you all back to our English grammar class. In the previous class we have discussed tenses and their uses part 1, and today we have our lesson number 9, okay? Chapter number 9, tenses and their uses, okay? Part 2, we are going to discuss about the past tense today. The past, you remember the meaning of past tense, I've told you, right? That means to discuss about an action that happened in the past. That is called the past tense. If it is difficult for you to remember, you can even use the word tense as time here, okay? And in a past tense, we know that simple past tense is used to denote an action that has already completed and is not continuing anymore, okay? What was the thing that we were discussing about in our example? If some of you remembers, you will say that the word he goes to school is used as our example, right? And in a past tense, if you want to refer to your page, it's in page number 48, okay? You can even look if there is any confusion that you come across, okay? Because the text has also given very clear. If you listen to the explanation and then look into the book again, things will be clearer to you, okay? By you alone reading the textbook will not be enough, and that is the reason why I am going to explain the book in very simple terms and very simple words, okay? But I will just read 2 points for you to remember, and then you will get to go through it again, okay? The simple past is used to indicate past action. The simple, we know that, right? Or action that is completed. That is one point that we all need to remember. And then to talk about an activity that took place regularly or repeatedly in the past but which no longer occurs, we use the simple past. Example, if I say he visited Delhi every year, that means we are talking about the word he, okay? He might be a person you know, or a person you may not know, but let's just forget about that. We are talking about a person who visited Delhi every year, but this sentence shows that he does not do that anymore, okay? That he does that at a certain point of time, but he is not doing that anymore, okay? You can imagine of yourself. I went to the river every day. If you are discussing about your childhood days, okay, when you were young, whether you get something or not, there are some people who would like to go to the rivers, right? Just to play with waters or to walk around by the water. And so I went to the river every day. If you say that, it shows that you don't do that action anymore. That means you don't go to the river anymore, okay? These are some sentences that tells us just by the usage of your verb, okay, of your tense, people will understand your meaning. But if you use it incorrectly, you are portraying and you are conveying the wrong message to the person whom you are talking with, okay? I would like you to look into your book once more to describe an action or event which occupied a period of time in the past which is now ended. That means you did a certain work at a point of time and you are not doing it anymore. I played for 3 hours yesterday. Okay, what kinds of game you play, I don't know, but you are describing about an incident, about something that you did to your friend, okay? That means I played that game for 3 hours. See, that means the game is not continuing anymore and you are referring to a period a thing which stretches over 3 hours time, okay? 3 hours time to your friend. So we will get into simple past tense, okay? Simple past tense. In a simple past tense, the formula is just the past tense of the verb, okay? The past tense of verb. This is the formula, okay? In the previous class, we have used he goes to school daily, okay? Now we can use the word he went to school. So he went to school. We have changed the verb go into went because our formula says that we can use only the past tense of the verb and there need not be any extra formulas to be added here. And so that makes a simple past tense as simple as that, okay? And the next point that we are going to be discussing about is the past continuous tense. Past continuous. This topic confuses some students at some point of time, because if it is past, how can it still be a continuous tense? Because something that is continuing right now is called a continuous tense, but I'm saying past continuous again. That is because if you are going to refer to an action that was happening at a certain point of time. Example, I was having my dinner when she came in. Okay? I was having my dinner when she came in. You can use the past continuous tense when there are two actions following each other. I repeat, you can use the past tense when there are two actions following each other. Okay? Having dinner and she came in, right? The first action will be written in past continuous tense. Okay? Did you get it? I repeat, when there are two actions following each other, the first action can be written in the continuous tense, the past continuous tense. She was, I was having my dinner when she came in. Came in was not taken place first. The first thing that was happening is dinner, right? First dinner, and then after that she came. So in the type of sentences, you can use the past continuous tense, okay? If you want to refer to a certain point of time when the action was still continuing, but it is not continuing anymore, okay? I'm just going to give you 1-2 points here, and then I'm going to leave the rest to you. Uses of the past continuous tense, okay? The first one is to describe an action which was in progress at a point of time or over a period of time in the past, as he was reading a novel at 8 o'clock this morning, right? 8 o'clock. At a certain point of time, you are specific about the time at 8, and it is not 8 anymore, okay? Maybe it's evening, okay? It's evening, then that means you are describing about an incident which took place at a specific point of time or at a certain period of time. For those actions, you can use the past continuous tense, or to suggest a gradual development of the action in the past. Gradual means slow, okay? That means an action was taking place at that moment. It was getting dark. It was getting dark, or you can say it was getting dark while I went for a walk. For those kind of things, you can use the past continuous tense, okay? And the formula here is going to be was or were plus verb plus ing. This is the formula. Even after knowing the usage, it is always good to know the formula, because unless you know that, you can take the example of your maths class, unless you know the formula, even if the question appears very simple, right, you cannot solve it without the formula. So the same with grammar classes, okay? So the formula is was or were plus verb plus ing. Why was or were? Because you can use only one of these words, and their difference is singular and plural. It's numbers, okay? If it is singular, you will use the word was. If it is plural, you will use the word were. The example that started from the beginning of this topic is he goes to school, right? If you are going to change that into past continuous tense, you will have to use he was. Why was? Because he is singular. We cannot use the word were again. He was going to school. Go plus ing is going, right? Verb plus ing. So this is the formula of past continuous tense. And the next point that we are going to discuss is past perfect tense. And as I've said, Mr. H is the perfect man, right? In present perfect tense, we use has and have, and it's very easy for past tense. Why? Because it has only one perfect man. There is no option here. The only option you have is to use had, and so when there is less option, there is less confusion. You all know that, right? And our formula here would be had, okay? Had plus third form of the verb. Like I said, third form always remains the same. You will say he had gone to school, because had is Mr. Perfect, okay? In Mr. Past Perfect. In the past tense, you can use only had, okay? In any of your perfect tenses. Always keep this in your mind. You cannot bring has and have again, because if you do that, you are doing a great mistake, and your usage of your sentence will be wrong. Plus, for exams, you are not getting any mark. If you happen to use, you might have understood the concept, but if you bring the wrong Mr. Perfect, that means your marks are gone there. And as a student, I know how important it is for you to have good marks, right? We also know that it is not only about the marks, but that plays a very important thing in a student's life. So in our past perfect tense, we have he had gone to school. That means he had already gone, okay? So for those type of things, you always have to remember that had is always necessary for the perfect tenses in the past tense, okay? Do not get confused with your present and the past perfect, because in present I clearly told you, you can use only has and have and not had. But in a past perfect tense, you have only one option, that is had, and if you happen to miss this, that means you are using an incorrect tense, okay? The past perfect tense, the uses, I'm just going to read it out once, okay? One point, because the rest of the point, it will take time for me to read everything out. I'm just explaining to you in simple terms, that is going to be enough. And once you go through the book after listening to this explanation, you will get to know what it really means, okay? One point here is, in a simple sentence, we never use the past perfect tense unless it has in it some such words as already, ever, for. These are the things that he had never visited the Taj before, right? That means if you have the word never, you can use the past perfect tense, that is also Mr. H had, right? And one more thing here is, past perfect means past of the past. Keep this in your mind. Past perfect means past of the past. That is the earlier past action between the two actions. Like in present perfect tense, the same thing with past perfect tense too. If there are two actions following each other in the past, okay, the first action will be written in past perfect tense, okay? And then he had already gone to school when I went to his place. We are using the word he goes to school, right? In that case, if you want to use a past perfect tense, he had gone to school can be used. But if there are two actions going to be following each other, you have to remember that you will write the first action in the past perfect tense. He had already gone to school when I reached his place. That means you are going to your friend's place. You have gone to your friend's place, okay? Because those two actions are already in the past. But he had already gone before you reached his place. That means the first action has to be written in the past perfect tense, okay? And let us go to the past perfect continuous tense, okay? Past perfect continuous tense. So by now, since you have already learned present tense, by now you must be having a rough idea of how it would go. Perfect is always Mr. H, and for past, you know you can use only had, right? So I'm going to give you the formula here. Had plus what should come? It's a continuous tense, and ing should be there. That is very sure. The next thing that you have to add is been, okay? In a past continuous tense, you always have to use the word been. In a past perfect continuous tense, been will always be there, okay? Had been plus verb plus ing. This is the formula. Now you know the usage of the past perfect continuous tense, but even after you know the usage, you have to be clear with this formula again. Had plus been plus verb plus ing, okay? So how should we put the word he goes to school in our past perfect continuous tense? Let us try, and you can even try there. So he had been going to school, okay? That action is already completed, but you are describing about an event that took place at that moment. He had been going to school when I was already working. Example, imagine that you are discussing about two persons, okay, and the other one was majored. You can think of that. So in that case, you can use like, he had been going to school. In those days, the word he, the boy, he is going to school, okay. When a person is already working, that means they have the difference in their ages, okay. You might have heard this conversation at one point or the other, right? People will be discussing about their childhood events or the past events, and then they will say, he had been going to school at that time when I met him, or when I was already working in the office, okay. So that shows the difference between the ages, right? These are the things that we have to keep in our mind. And so I'm sure you are clear with the tenses today, because in the previous class we did tenses and their uses part 1, and today we are doing tenses and their uses part 2, because we know we have 3 main tenses. There are 3 parts for this topic, okay. And today we have completed chapter 9. I'm going to give a quick recap, okay, so that you will keep it in your mind. Past tense. Past tense will be divided into 4 main points. 1.1 is simple past tense. You will just have to use the past tense of the verb. You don't have to add any extra words in order to change your sentence. I have given you he goes to school as your example, and now we have changed it into he went to school. Now you see that only the verb go had been changed to went, right? And in past continuous tense, as the name itself suggests, we will talk about an action that was continuing at a certain point of time but is not continuing anymore, okay? He was going to school. So you are describing about an event that was continuing at a point of time when you met him, or a specific time that you want to talk about. You can say he was going to school, and the formula is was or were plus verb plus ing. If you are discussing about a group of boys, you can say they were going to school, right? Because they is a plural subject, you know that. So depending on the subject of your sentence, you have to know that you will change the verb, okay? Verb changes with the change of numbers, whether it's singular or plural, right? And also, the next point is 1.3, past perfect tense. Mr. H is the perfect man, keep that in your mind, okay? That is never written in the book, or you will not find it in Google. But you have to know that whenever there is perfect tense, one of the words starting from H, that means has, have, and had. One of these 3 words will always come there, but since it is past, you have to use had, okay? Had plus the third form of the verb, that means he had gone to school. Gone is the third form of the verb here, okay? Please keep that in your mind. And then 1.4, past perfect continuous tense. Perfect here gave us the permission to use the word had, okay? Continuous had given us the word verb plus ing. It has given us the authority to use this. And in order to connect these two, had and continuous, that means perfect continuous, had and verb plus ing, we need to bring the word been, okay? And so it's been, B-E-E-N. Do not use B-E-I-N-G, because that will bring a totally different meaning to your sentence, making it incorrect. So, he had been going to school is the past perfect continuous tense of the sentence, he went to school. Okay, so with this we are going to conclude the past tense for today, and in the next class we are going to start with tenses and their uses part 3. So please get ready with that, go through your book, and then always be ready with a pen or a pencil before you come to the class, because that's what we always do even in the school. And then until then, keep going through your books. Thank you.